Hello, happy play date. I just realized I needed to say which play date this was. Number 60. Welcome in, everyone who's here already. Let me say some hellos. So we have Shane, first one in this morning. Good morning, my awesome son. Gigi Nilsson, hello, ready for more cups. Elizabeth, Ape Simon. Sandra's here. Hi, Sandra. Richard Longman Tarot, nice to see you. Let's see. Jennifer Ball is here. Celtic Tarot, Sheila, good morning. I can say that. Since you're kind of closer to me than a lot of these folks. Sage Advice Tarot, multitasking, cleaning and listening. Just absorb it. Just absorb all of the wisdom that's going to come from our play daters today. See, who else do we have in here? Emily, good morning. Well, good afternoon for you, Emily, or good evening. Jackie Jacaranda is here. We have Scroll and Meg Rose Honey Ritual. Nice to see you. Michelle, hello. White Tree Tarot is here. And Pamela Ramsey. It's a pleasure to have you here. And Tarot Trainee is here. Oh, and there's our L. I almost blew right by her there. Let's see. Meg. Oh, no, I said that one. I got that one. I got that one too. Everybody's saying hello. Chris. Hello, my friend. Nice to see you. Oak Mama's here. Hi, Melanie. And Kim Moon Whisper. Hello. Debbie Aquarius Owl. Nice to see you. Am I almost there? Oh, we were doing so good. We had this lovely flow going, and then the jump. It happens every time. Val T. Hello. Corvin Tail Raven Tarot. Hi. And oh, did I make it to the end? Maharet is here. Gracia T. Okay, if I missed anyone, again, as always, not on purpose, not at all. So, I might have some more folks coming. Oh, I do have more folks. Oh, I was not at the bottom. Okay, well, I continue to say hi to folks. Did anybody have any particular revelations with their King of Cups this week? I would be interested to know. And let me see who else has come in here. We have Patrice is here. Lori Kramer, hi. Becca, hello. And Ann Fort is here. Hi, Ann. Regina Tarot, nice to see you. Queena Set Heru. Oh, I hope I say that right, but hello. Butterfly Moore, hello, lovely yourself. And let's see. Now did I do it? Now did I do it? I'm not sure. Pamela Batchelor, did I say? I don't think I did. So good morning. All right. I think I made it this time. But again, if I skipped you, wave at me, all caps me, do what you got to do. I am going to, oh, the King of Cups came up in a reading that you did for your hubby, Emily. Hopefully all positive aspects of our king. And Neem is here. Hi, Neem. Nice to see you. All right, I keep trying to alt tab and I can't do that on a Mac. So I got to get my buttons straight here. All right, here we go. All right, so I don't know if we have any newbies here today, but just in case we do, what we want to do to get Playdate started. Oh, we do have a newbie. Elle Gardner, just in time for your first Playdate. Nice to see you. So let me give you the lay of the land. Every week, before we draw our card for the week, I like to gather a list of 5 questions from you all that you would like to use this week's card to answer. And then I will use the 5 randomly selected decks from my collection, and we will look at this week's card from those decks and answer our questions. So Shane is showing you right now how it's done by getting us our first question. Thank you, Shane. Very much appreciate. What can we focus ourselves with when facing our most constant struggle? Ooh, you're diving in, Shane, aren't you? All right, let me get that one snagged there. So from Shane A, what can we focus ourselves with when facing our most constant struggle? Or how can we focus ourselves? I feel like I'm not reading that quite right with the right intent. So let me know if you want to make any edits to that. And then, oh gosh, oh, okay, don't. Oh, you guys are fast this week. Sometimes it's like everybody's like thinking. You guys came with questions today. Okay, that is a long one. Let me see what we've got here from Emily. How can we nurture ourselves, allow ourselves to do things that feel good, safe, and grounded at this time in alignment with the full moon in Virgo on the 27th of February, which is going to be right before our next play date. So, okay. Thank you, Emily. So how can we nurture ourselves, allow ourselves to do things that feel good, safe, and grounded at this time in alignment with the full moon in Virgo? You just want to see how fast I can type, right? That's what it is. All right, let's see here. Alignment. There we go. All right, let's see what else we got here. So I got Shane, Emily, and yeah, he went in. From Simon, how can we march out of our lives? What can we march out of our lives in readiness for March? Oh, I see what you did there. I like that. I'm ready to march some stuff out. Let me tell you. Okay. What can we march out of our lives in readiness for March? Again, mostly just talking out loud, so you know I'm not just sitting here ignoring y'all. So, and then from Jennifer Ball, oh, I like this one. What energy will Pisces season bring? So how long does Pisces season last? Oh, we just mean through like the zodiac. I may have been overthinking that for just a moment. I think I'm back. I think I'm okay. Jennifer Ball's Witch House. What energy will Pisces season bring? That's right, because we're moving out of Aquarius and into Pisces. I've got this. I know this. I know this astrology kind of, sort of. Okay, do I have 5? Oh, my chat just jumped like in a big way. I don't think I missed any. No, I've got Shane, Emily, Simon, Jenna. Okay, I have one more I need. I'm scrolling. There it is from Chris. Thank you, Chris. How can we balance being productive and giving ourselves the chill time we need? That's fine. My daily reading today is kind of like all about that. So this will be a good question to ask. Okay. How can we balance being productive and giving ourselves chill time that we need? Okay, I think I have 5 questions. Thank you all, because without you, Playdate would come to a grinding halt, let me just say. So Shane said that question was basically a fancy way of saying, how do I not murder my puppy? Oh, no. Who is kicking off his terror stage hard, but way more general. I like it. Oh, actually strike that, as next Saturday is still February. Oh, you don't want me to use your question, Simon? Okay. No, I mean, you want to save it for next week? What do we want to do? Do I have a backup question? Do you have a backup question? Okay, Anne's got us. How can we put a spring in our step for spring? All right, this is going to be a Simon Anne combo today. That's how we're going to do this. All right. And I like it. I hope you're okay with that, Simon. How can we put a spring in our step for spring? There we go. That should do it. I feel like that'll do it. Thank you, Anne. Saving the day. Oh, I didn't put it up on the screen, but that's where I got it. Okay. Hi, Tammy Pie. Nice to see you. Turid, hello. Are you also a first-time Playdater? Oh, I love it when we get new people in for Playdate. I love all of the people who are always here for Playdate too, don't get me wrong. But it's just nice to see new faces and new names. Okay, so time to put our King of Cups to the side. Where's he going? He's going over there. Take a sip of tea, and then I'm going to focus on our questions and shuffle. Okay. Ever-shrinking deck. Oh, there were some questions in the group I noticed in the chat before I went live. So a lot of people are kind of wondering, like, how do we know which cards we've already had and which ones we still have left? So really, it's process of elimination. But Elle did have a a cool Google Sheet matrix that she was putting in Playdate. But I think we might, Elle, I think we might be a couple of weeks behind on that if I'm thinking right, where she was kind of noting like which suit we got each week, whether it was a major or one of the 4 elements or 4 suits in the minor arcana. So we're kind of tracking that. But also every week after we pull the card for the week, we will, in the topics section, so if you're in the Playdate Facebook group, if not, Elle can put a link, especially for some of our newbies here today. Sorry, Elle, I just volunteered you. I mean, will you please put a link? That's what I meant to say. And we keep a list of the play dates and their topics. So if you look in the section that says like popular topics for this group or something like that, and whenever somebody posts their cards or an activity that's related to whichever play date, we tag that. And I think some folks in the group have figured out how to add those post topics themselves, which you're welcome to do. But we do try to do that. So if you ever want to see, okay, what was everybody talking about when we covered the 4 of Cups? What was that, like play date 2 or something? Then you can actually click on that and you can kind of see all of the relevance. So even if you're new and coming in late, or you want to revisit an old card that we talked about, you want to see what people were posting, you just kind of want to narrow down what the activity is in the Facebook group, that's a great way to do it. All right. Oh, thank you, Elle. Oh, you're sharing the pixel thing. Okay. I hope there wasn't anything for me to, while I was yammering, to catch. So if so, after I'm done shuffling, feel free to bring it back for me. But I'm going to focus on our questions, get a little shuffling in here. So from Shane, what can we focus how can we focus ourselves with when facing our most constant struggle, or in Shane's case, how not to kill the demon puppy, who's very cute. From Emily's Tarot Magic, how can we nurture ourselves, allow ourselves to do things that feel good, safe, and grounded at this time in alignment with the full moon in Virgo on the 27th of February. Whew, that's a mouthful, Emily. All right, from Simon, the Hermit's Cave, and from Ann Fort, combining their forces. How can we put a spring in our step for spring? Because February is not quite over, but we'll have to bring the marching into March question next week, Simon. From Jenna, what energy will Pisces season bring? And from Chris, how can we balance being productive and giving ourselves chill time that we need? You know, how do we stay balanced? You know, we're all about that here, right, Chris? All right, what can we focus ourselves with when facing our most constant struggle? How can we nurture and allow ourselves to do things that feel good, safe, and grounded? How can I put a spring in our step for spring, or how can we put a spring in our step for spring? What energy will Pisces season bring? And finally, how can we balance being productive and giving ourselves chill time we need? Okay, those are long questions this week. All right, folks, here's a card. Ooh, I don't think I saw this coming at all for these questions. Although the balance aspect does come into play, doesn't it? All right, instant reactions, thoughts. What do you think? Happy to see this card? How are you feeling about it? Let me know, and then we'll start getting into general meanings and thoughts and ideas that we have about the Justice card. And in the meantime, I'll get caught up on the chat. I think I'll try just a little bit. All right. Just people saying hi. New folks that come in. I think T-Cat, you came in since I've been doing this. Huge mug sip. Yep. Oh, did Aspasia Rising get in here? Yes. Hi, Beth. Nice to see you. Drop of Golden Tarot. Welcome in. I didn't scroll back very far, so if I missed anyone, again, not on purpose. And okay, there we're talking. Oh, a major. Yep, Oak Mama, we got a major. Oh, you'll be going back, Simon, to figure out which ones you're missing when you have the gaps in your book. Cool card. Reminds me of Libras. I love Libras. Well, that's good. I'm a Libra. so I'll take that. Be honest in all of your dealings, says Simon. Emily says, I think, oh, let me start showing some stuff here. And then Emily says, I think it's a reminder to look at our ethics and morals and really analyze if they are in alignment with our actions and behavior. I'm always a fan of that. Let me see if I can, I'm going to lower this down just a little bit so that you guys get a little bit closer. It may not seem that obvious to you, but I think Is that a little better? I feel like that's a little better. And we'll take the close-up look. Don't worry. Jackie said, everything comes to those who wait. And Chris says, I can never help but see Uncle Vernon with the big ice cream spoon in HPS when this comes up. Oh, you're throwing acronyms at me. HPS, HPS. I see HP and I think Harry Potter, but then the S throws me, so that's not it. You'll have to tell me, Chris. Beth says, ooh, thinking forgiveness and letting go, allowing karma and the universe to happen and to let it go. Oak Mama associated with Libras. You know, it's really interesting too, because I am a Libra. And when I really dove into tarot, I think the first time I did a card for the year was 2019. And Justice was my first card for the year that I ever got. So I thought that was very appropriate. It's like I entered and really dove into tarot and kind of headfirsted it. That sounded weird, but at a really good time, right? Tammy Pie says, my sweet husband is a Libra. He does sound like a sweetheart. Harry Potter 5? Was it a 5 and not an S? Maybe that's what it was. Oh, Harry Potter. Okay. Okay, Harry Potter 5, which is Order of the Phoenix. Oh, that's a good one. Although that was a hard book to read. All right. Simon says, Simon's going to be like, please don't talk about Harry Potter. Remember that the universe is ultimately a fair and just place. Fair place, says Jackie Jacaranda. Let's see. Justice is also about the sort of truth, cutting through the fluff and weighing the truth. Oh, yes. Oh, please do post a GIF. Chris, I will gladly take. I speak in GIFs fluently, so just saying. Uh-oh, Anne says, doesn't sound too good for Shane's puppy. You get your just desserts. Appa, the world is a fair and balanced place, so behave yourself, right? I think I got that one. Other thoughts? You know, I always see this too, is whenever you are faced with having any kind of a challenge that you have to deal with, it's always thinking about it in really rational and balanced terms, weighing both sides, looking at it objectively, taking personal emotion completely out of the mix. There is, I mean, yeah, we're going to talk more about the symbols in this card. Water is not really a thing in this card or at all, right? So we have to keep that in mind too, right? I'm going to have to get our melanated here in a minute as well. So Oak Mama says, justice is also about the sort of truth, cutting through the fluff and weighing up the truth. Did I say that already? I think I did. I apologize. Justice isn't good or bad. It's just fair. Exactly, right? There's no judgment about justice. It just is. It's equity. We all have a responsibility to act in an ethical way. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, today is Alan Rickman's birthday. Oh, that makes me kind of sad. The Justice card is often depicted in a lot of decks as the deity Maat, maybe, Egyptian goddess of morality, truth, balance, legal systems, etc. Let's see here. Whoops, I lost, my chat jumped again. Justice is love out loud. Justice is love out loud. I'm thinking about that. Ooh, that's something to think about. Maat is an ancient Egyptian concept. Chris says, cause and effect. Think about how our actions affect the collective, right? I don't think this is a card that says, you know, you get to be all about yourself right now. I just don't think that's what this is about. Becca says, justice, not revenge, always the better path. Agreed, agreed. And sometimes you don't get to be the one to make that justice happen. Sometimes you have to trust in the balance and the order of the universe that that's going to happen, especially, you know, those that believe in karma, etc. Let's see here. Pamela says, noting square jewel on the crown as well as white square with ruby red fastening cape, significance of squares, right? So maybe it's the symmetry and the balance that's in those geometric shapes, perhaps. All right, you guys keep chatting. I'm just going to pull out our melanated justice so we get a little bright dose of color as we usually do with this deck. Let me see. I'll put that right there. So here's our justice in the melanated, which is, wait, there we go. I still, to this day, have not figured out which way to angle the cards. Jackie says, good deeds for others. Oh, and my chat jumped all the way to the bottom again. Let's see. Beth says, I pulled justice with the first person I ever read for and went for a very literal legal meaning. Luckily, my intuition was right. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, right? And they say that this card often can represent legal matters. Gigi says, I love the association with Mott, who weighs, again, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, who weighs your heart against a feather. Cut away what makes your heart heavy and let it fall away. Spirit Healing Tarot. Hi, by the way, says karma. Yes. Richard says, your past actions create your present and your present actions create your future. Ooh, well, I want to absorb that quote for a second. Your past actions create your present and your present actions create your future. Yes, very much yes. That was a good one. Thank you for that. I feel like I wish I could write that down right now, but I have no journal near me. I really should. Of course, I can watch this back, right? Okay. Emily says, in the Book of the Dead, Mott weighs the heart and soul of the person against her feather of truth and associations as they transition into the underworld. Interesting. Jessica Reed, hi Jessica, says, justice, you can't always get what you want, right? You get what you deserve. Although a lot of times I think, we may reflect on our lives and think, well, what did I do to deserve that, right? And I think a lot of times justice is that nobody's immune to the challenges, right? This stuff gets spread out. And again, it's how we choose to deal with those challenges. We're all going to get them. Nobody's immune. Nobody gets to get a free ride through this life, right? So it's how we choose to react and move forward. And again, present actions, creating a future. I love that. Can you tell? Tarot Trainee says, I need to try to let my emotions out of things. Good messages. Yes. And sometimes it can be really difficult to separate yourself from the situation or from your thoughts and beliefs and really approach it in a way that will allow people to hear your message. Oh, Neem has a spreadsheet for us to track our cards. Thank you, Neem. That would be really cool. Let's see. Chris says, Arcanum 11, it's at the very center of the majors. Everything revolves around justice. That is going to be an important one. That's true, right? So we're exactly midway through our journey. Ooh, that's interesting. Ooh, that'll be fun to dive into. Anne says, the heart of the deceased was weighed against the feather of the goddess Mott. Anubis judged. Oh, interesting. White Tree Tarot, justice is one of the three cards where the main person is depicted sitting between two pillars, as well as the Hierophant and the High Priestess, and all of them have different approaches to that duality. Yes, very good observation too, I think. Okay, Julie Daniels, hello. Okay. Am I saying it? Oh, I still don't know if I'm saying it right. Sound of the A. So Mott. I'm saying that right then, the way that I've been saying it? Tammy Pie says, justice is often more about the rules we all follow rather than what we believe should be. Yes, but who sets the rules? Like universal rules is what we mean. Is that right? Is that kind of what you're getting at? Okay, Emily, as much as I would love to read your comment out loud, I'm afraid I would completely trash that if I tried to pronounce it. So, and Beth is kind of answering my question before she typed it, before I even asked it. I feel as though this card really demands you trust in the universe. Agreed. Elizabeth, it is time to be logical. Don't let your emotions overwhelm you or overwhelm your decisions. I got this. I can do this. It may be helpful to list the pros and cons of a potential decision. Again, looking at it objectively, right? Let's see here. Kay says, you can't always get what you want. That will be my earworm for the day. Great song. Ooh, we can post it in the Playdate group. We like to post songs that remind us of the cards. It's a fun game that Elle and I like to play, and we talk about it more than we actually do it. But you know what? I always say every week, like when I'm shuffling, I'm like, the tarot isn't going to give us what we want. It's going to give us what we need. Justice is that personified, I think. Hi, Ishi. So being stuck is practice getting unstuck. Being stuck is practice getting unstuck. You know, that kind of reminds me of like meditation too, right? Everybody thinks that the whole goal of meditation or the practice is keeping your mind clear. But oftentimes the practice is recognizing when your mind is not clear and bringing it back to center, right? So a lot of times it's more the fact that you do actually have to work on it that makes it the practice. Is that even close to what you're saying? I may have gone off on a tangent there. Yeah, these colors are gorgeous in this card. Thanks, Jenna. Always finding a way to make the thumbs up call out really cute. Let's see here. Eating cupcakes. Okay, enjoy your cupcakes, Pals Tarot Tent. Emily, there's a big difference between morality and legality, definitely. Yes, absolutely. Gigi says, I love the depiction of justice in the Tarot de Marseille, where the person holding the scales tips the scales with her elbow. So much for who makes the rules, right? I don't know that I've ever noticed that. But I haven't done a lot of work with Marseille, but that's interesting. That really does add some kind of element to it, doesn't it? Emily says, I often think of Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice demanding a pound of flesh. Yeah, and Emily, thank you for bringing in the Tree of Life aspects. I know I'm not getting all of your comments in there. I'm trying to keep pace today, because whenever we get a major, we always run a little bit longer than we do in some of our others. Okay, let's see here. I'm scrolling. Okay, I got it right. Your practice getting unstuck. Okay, all right, good. I'm glad I kind of picked up on what you were trying to say there. So I'm going to pull the original back up. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the different elements of this card. And do you see anything in this card that you haven't seen before? All right, so we'll start at the top here. I'll try to get kind of straight on as I can. So there we had, I do not know what's in the center. I don't know if it'll focus that close. Looks like just some kind of circle. Notice the color of the sword. And I kind of want to talk about that in a little bit. I have some thoughts on that. And then we have our scales. Again, we have the pillars, the stone, kind of slab or surface, very grounded. Not a drop of water in this card. Also not really, we don't really have any earthiness, but we do have some of the, we have the green, right? The green of what's of the cloak here. We have the red gown or dress or whatever that we want to call that. All right, tell me what your thoughts are as you looked at the symbols of this card. And then, I'll show you this one close up too. That is an intense look. She is not taking any crap, I'm pretty sure. So really similar justice cards, I think. Okay, let's see what you guys have to say about that. Let me see if I can keep this chat from jumping too far on me here. All right, thank you, Simon. So the violet curtain, full spectrum of colors. The sword extends above the curtain. I'm like, I don't know why I'm acting it out as I'm reading it. A sign of sensibility and sensitivity, which are needed here. Scales give measure to what is uncertain. Let's see here. Sandra says the blue jewel in the crown stands out for me. Yeah, and I'm not sure that's something that's entirely grabbed my focus before. That's not very focused. You can really see it in this one, right? My lighting aside, right? Odd eyes, says Jackie. So does that give an expressive element that kind of hits you differently? Richard asked, what have we done to shape the present? Be careful what you choose to do next to progress, right? And that kind of goes back to that quote that I was loving so much. Oak Mama's noticing the square on the crown and on the brooch. I wanted to say brooch because of how it's spelled. Emily said, was the connection to the high priestess mentioned? It was in terms of the pillars, but with the mise en scene, the backdrop, etc. So yeah, I don't think we really talked about how the veil hanging between the two pillars is similar to the High Priestess, but definitely does give those vibes, doesn't it? Shane's noticing that all of the art itself is centered or balanced. Yeah, this card, you look at it and it feels completely symmetrical. It's like everything in this card is really making you feel like you're looking at something that's balanced and fair. Is she's noticing one foot out. So one foot peeking out from under here, right there, right? Tammy Pie is saying it's kind of the opposite of the High Priestess. So what does the blue square on the crown represent? Do we have that in the Ultimate Guide to the Rider-Waite Tarot? Simon may have already answered it, and I just may be behind in the chat here. Julie says, many NDE. What is MDE? NDE. What my brain goes. All right, go ahead and screenshot that, Elle. Anyway, my brain goes blank on acronyms in these chats for some reason. Many NDEs say there is a life review where we feel all the pain we have caused others. Karma at its finest. These two things have given a lot more depth to the Justice card for me. Yes. All right, so Simon's taking note here of the yellow background. Negative aspects, the sun. Conciseness is being obscured by rules and regulations. Positive aspects, overeager. Wait, do we have those backwards? I feel like overeagerness, envy, delusion, and greed. All right, hold on. We're having issues here. I mean, what do I read out? Hundreds of comments and Playdate. Thank you for your patience with me. All right, I feel like those were reversed, but you tell me if I'm totally misunderstanding that, Simon. Beth says the sword is a tool to implement justice. Maybe the color just makes it stand out artistically. Okay, so you guys may have addressed this, but throughout the sword suit, we often see that the swords, oh, that's a cup. Do I have a sword? I don't have a sword really handy right at the moment, but I could get one. Oftentimes the swords have sort of one white side and one blue side, right? Representing sort of shadow and light. Or maybe two sides to a situation, especially when we're looking at it from kind of the air element, right? Whereas in this card, the sword is fully blue. So I was wondering if that means that there's less room for interpretation with this. And we have, rather than that duality being represented in the sword itself, is that being represented by the scales down here. So I'd be interested to hear if you guys think I'm like rambling nonsense, or if you kind of understand where I'm going at, or if you have thoughts about that. Yeah, the Justice card is really beautiful in the melanated. You want me to switch again, Emily? Was that a hint? Okay, let's see here. Oklahoma says the backdrop is completely screened out. No water, no emotion. Exactly. Oh, near-death experiences. Oh, thank you, Julie. I have this show on Netflix that I really want to watch about that, actually. Let's see. Issue says red and gold usually means good fortune. Oh, and that's this. The lighting on my camera makes this look really yellow, but it actually is green. I don't know. See, as I get closer, you can see that's a bit more green, but we do have like the yellow sky up here still and the red for sure. Helen says the two decks I have feature some different colors. Oh, what colors are you seeing? I'd be interested to see. All right, Simon did answer the jewel in the crown is a reference to the third eye. That makes sense. Stands for higher intuition needed and for resolution of contradictions. Okay. Pamela said, isn't justice blind? Well, that's what they say. But I think what they mean is not literally blind, right? It's blind to bias and personal opinion and emotion and all of those things. But you guys tell me what you think. So Emily and Tammy Pie kind of talking about the differences between Justice and the High Priestess here. It's so grounded in earthly concerns in comparison to the High Priestess. The setup is what I find interesting. Perhaps it's like a mirror image of the High Priestess, almost. Ooh, I kind of get that. Thank you, Kay. I appreciate that very much. I try really hard, but I appreciate that. Kay was just noting, for anybody who didn't kind of see the comment, just that appreciating that I try to acknowledge all of your comments. And I do. I don't want anybody to feel like they're being skipped or not represented. Beth says, I think the U.S. is more idealistic in these matters. Not a judgment either way, just my observation. Oh, that was a comment to Gigi. So I noticed earlier there was kind of a comment about sort of a European mentality. Do you think cultural, this is getting deep, but do you think culture plays a role in how justice is portrayed in its sort of, let's just say, its most positive aspects? Do you think that still looks different between cultures? I'm sorry I asked that because I might get y'all thinking. I might have to think on that. Let's see here. White Tree Tarot says, recently I read about a study. Would people like to have a digital judge computer instead of a human in the court? 30% so they would prefer a computer judge. Made me think. But who programmed that computer? Just saying. Just saying. Hi, Lori. Let's see. Is that right foot out? Is that a nod to logic? Oh, because it's left-brained if the right foot is out? Is that kind of what you mean? Or is there some other reason? Simon was clarifying NDE for me. Oh, I must be very behind in the chat now. That's my mom. I don't know what I did, but whatever it is, I'm sure I deserved that comment. Oh, the screen record. I said screenshot, didn't you? You knew what I meant, Elle. Julie says, it really makes me crazy when the scales are unbalanced or the sword is not pointed upward. Anyone else? Yeah, it's like these scales back here, even though these days you can really only see kind of half of it. Like before I would get on play, I would be a little bit concerned because if the angle was off, it made it look like the scales were out of balance, which I know makes people twitchy. So I know what you mean, right? It's like, I like to see the scales in balance. Oh, Simon had meant consciousness being obscured instead of, I know I said a different C word. I thought maybe there was a different word. Coffee, Jen. It was that when I was fumbling all over my words, brain and blank and all of that. I think that's when that was happening. Uh-oh, somebody said, wait, where did it go? Oh, no. There it is. There it is. I'm still left Julie's comment up there. Oh, I'm sorry you have a migraine, Leanne. I don't know if you're still here. Probably she came and went. All right, here we go. The book says the quadratic jewel on the crown means feminine and masculine and spiritual and materialistic. Ooh, interesting. Emily says, according to Rachel Pollack, the figure depicted in the RWS is based upon the Greek Titaness Themis, who, yes, should be blindfolded. You know, that is interesting because I feel like, don't we have I think many folks do have Justice blindfolded in their decks, but we will look at some alternative cards and we'll see what we all think. Let's see. Simon said, again, without the typos, the yellow background, negative aspects. Is it still negative? The consciousness, oh, I see. The sun consciousness is being obscured by rules and regulations. Positive, overeagerness, envy, delusion, greed are curbed by them. Okay, I gotcha. Not reversed. I get it. I totally get it. Thank you for clarifying for me. Chris said, does the sword and justice not represent the divine punishment of the guilty, which is always, I guess, the shadow side of justice, if you even want to call it that? So kind of thinking about why we don't see the two different colors in the sword. Emily had said, we must be justified in this card by our actions in the magician from the wisdom received via the high priestess. Michelle, we're not going to let Playdate go away. I promise you. I would miss it too. We're gonna find a way to keep it going. Don't worry. 78 is not the end. Chris says, whereas the swords and sword suit represent our thoughts, which can be positive and negative depending on how they're channeled. Okay, I think I was kind of following where you were going with that. Blind to class and money. Ooh. Oh, I like your thinking out loud, Chris. You do that anytime here. It is very welcome. And then Jessica also said blind to feeling and opinions. Yes. Okay. I know how far I am because now you guys are answering my thoughts on the cultural influence on how we might read this card. Yes, culture and history, and definitely through laws that oppress people. Yes, right. When we think about the legal justice system in different countries, and I don't think any country is immune to bias in their legal system, right? But some are very, very extreme. She said, Lady Justice is an allegorical personification of the moral force in judicial systems. She's the one who wears a blindfold, a beam balance, and a sword. She often appears as a pair with, the rest of it's down there somewhere. Hopefully I'll remember. I think we all need strength to endure justice. Sometimes very true, I think. Pamela says Pisces rules the feet. Interesting. Tammy Pie says, in Tarot of the Crone, blue represents wisdom and expansion, yellow, intuition and focus. Oh, I love that. The colors in Tarot of the Crone and the meanings that they have is so cool. Chris says, I think justice will only truly be done when we all simultaneously abandon responsibility to uphold the social aspect of justice. Right? Oh, am I almost caught up? Okay, so Tammy Pie, so it brings to mind the saying how a culture can be judged by how they treat their prisoners. Yes. And then Chris said, the BLM event should give us hope that many people are still willing to stand up for what is right. Yes. And then Pamela said, it seems like we are the shadow side of justice. Divine justice to me would be the light. Oh, also interesting. And then Pamela following up with Orwin laws are used against justice. And then Chris said, this is a very interesting discussion. I'm just like back and forth. Okay, Pamela said, Chris said, I think our egos are the shadow side of our self-interest, but we as humans are more than that. We bring light and shadow into the mix. And then Elle says, justice is blind. It's like it's saying it's fair despite people's differences. Justice is all seeing. It's fair because of people's differences. It should lift people up and nurture authenticity, equity, right? And I think justice also means considering the ramifications of what's employed in order to achieve justice. And I think what keeps coming to mind as you all are chatting back and forth was the one cartoon, I think, where it shows the difference between equality and justice, where in equality you have, people of three different heights, say a child, an adolescent, and an adult, right? Who are trying to look over a wall. And equality is giving them all the same size box to stand on, which all that does is that, so maybe it helps this person see over the wall, and maybe this person can get a peek and this person can't see over the wall at all, right? But equity means getting them all to where they can see over the wall. So they may need different size boxes to stand on in order for that to be equitable. And I love that. It comes into my mind all the time. All right, so shall we start getting into our alternative cards? Because wow, we spent a long time on that one. All right, my first alternative deck after I take a sip of tea is the gorgeous Afro Goddess Tarot. So we'll take a look at justice in this deck, and I will keep the book handy in case you want me to check that out. Let's see what we got here. I don't have to look too far. Okay, we have a cheeky justice here, but I think some of you will be pleased to see some of the elements you were talking about. So these are the backs. This is the limited edition, by the way, of the Afro Goddess Tarot. So it's the pink edition, and it's very kind of shiny, but I'll try to give you guys a good look here. Oh, that's interesting, that path that goes back there. Hadn't really noticed that before. She's got a tear eking out. Now that shows a little emotion we don't see in our RWS. Oh, the scales are out of balance. But it's only because she's kind of slanted, right? So what do you guys think about this card? Simon said, that's why equality, diversity, and inclusion are interdependent. Ooh, yeah. Chris said, so it's the difference between treating everyone the same in a literal sense and giving them the same opportunities. Yes, that to me is very much the difference between equality and equity. Tammy, so sexy. I love that deck. What's that in the background? Well, it looks like it's a path. Now, let me see if I can get it to focus. Does it look like there are two little, creatures waiting? Hey. I don't really know. Okay, I will. While you guys are looking, I'll hold it up again. You can give me your thoughts on this, and I'll read a bit from the book here. So in the end, there must always be balance. For within the light, there must be dark. And in the dark, there must be light. Card 11, the Justice card, is a card highlighting that yin and yang or yang, like division in the physical, as there is also no good without bad, nor joy without sorrow. By name alone, we know the Justice card is one of fairness, truth, and law, knowing that all things done in the dark, sorry, lost my place. By name alone, okay, knowing that all things done in the dark will ultimately shine bright in the light. This blindfolded goddess is unaware of the consequences that could await her. However, she is both yin and yang, as she is seen both smiling and crying. Okay, so that's kind of why the tear is there. Okay, that makes sense. As she strides along, just like the ever-running log of karma, her upward sword hopes for victory. However, she still carries the balance of truth to signify an unbiased and fair outcome. Okay, what do y'all think of that? Is it two cats? Okay, I'm scrolling back to see what you guys think. So Shane said her scales are unbalanced as her emotions are slipping through. The Justice is being swayed. Oh, so there could be something. But I did find it interesting. So if you actually look at her face, like she's got the tear on the one side, but the half smile on the other. So there's a little bit of balance there between the emotions, like the sad sorrow and the joy, which that's an interesting element we haven't really talked about. Emily said the path connects us to where we have been and what we will do in the future. It's again our wisdom plus actions, or even if we know better, can we do better? And the other folks, so, and I can see where you guys are looking at this, like, is that sadness because things are out of balance? And I could see why you would interpret this card that way, for sure. Oh, Elle says, oh, it's the path from ancient Egyptian mythology. I can't remember the name. Oh, maybe somebody else here has an idea of what that might be. Cats with their tails up. Is that what they are? The kitties in the background? Looks like two cats guarding the gateway. Well, they look like they were waving at me, but let's see. Simon was kind of responding to Chris's question too. It's like a race with the runner having various abilities. Equality would put them all on the same starting line, whereas diversity looks at differences and moves each person at different starting points along the track to make things equitable. Yes, I read the book, right? Am I that far behind? Beth asked, is that a half smile because society is making strides slowly towards justice? Oh, interesting. Let's see. It looks like her scales are swaying this way and that. Justice trying to find balance, right? And I think that also shows that the justice, it just doesn't stay there the whole time, right? We have to continually work to keep those scales balanced, I would think. And then Shane says, you are still able to be balanced even with your emotions. Feel your emotions, but also balance out the facts to make the proper call. Yes, Shane. So let's see if we can answer our first question, which is also from Shane this week. So what can we focus, or what or how can we focus ourselves with when facing our most constant struggle? Oh, how can we keep ourselves focused when facing our most constant struggle? So maybe this is really kind of taking a step back from any emotional responses that we are having. Look at the facts. What is true? What do I need to do in order to move forward objectively, right? And in the best, kind of in alignment, right, with my goals and ethics and morals and all of those things, so I'm thinking about, because Shane told us about Demon Puppy, it's like, okay, remember, he's doing this because he is a puppy. This is a part of everybody's journey, the terrible toddler 2s and 3s, right? So it's not going to be this way forever, which will allow you to maybe maintain the equilibrium that you need, knowing that how you react and how you train him is going to be setting the stage for future non-demon puppy. But you guys tell me all what you think. Let's see here. Oh, I think I read that from Shane already. So then Pamela said, life is dynamic, not static. Elle says, stay balanced even with my emotions. Can't relate. Oh, I think you can. I think you can. Butterfly Moore says, I see a real bravery in justice too. Speaking the truth, taking responsibility, resolving disputes, finding equilibrium, not an easy task. So true, right? And especially when we're talking about things that we care about or that we're passionate about, but also being able to kind of balance ourselves and remove ourselves from those emotional responses. But when we know we didn't do something right, being able to take responsibility for that, I think helps to rebalance those scales. Oklahoma says, focus on the facts, cut out emotions for a fresh perspective. Pamela says, focus on balance, right? Find those things that keep you centered as well. What are the things that help you kind of regain that sense? Yes, Pamela, I love that. Appa being named Demon Puppy. I know. Oh, thank you, Neem, for putting that in the Facebook group. Bye, Ishi. Thank you for coming. Pal's Tarot Tent says the law is on the side of he who gets there first. Interesting observation. Chris said, Shane, the road to achieving balance is long and winding one, like we see behind her here, but there's light at the end. Look how responsible and well-behaved the familiars are guarding the gate. Ooh, I like that. Appa's going to be just fine. He has the best teacher. Yeah, listen to Chris. Shane says, puppy version. Appa is still a puppy. He is learning how to navigate the world and needs to be taught no matter how many beds he shreds or accidents he has. That's right, Shane. Beth says, a quote by Pixie for Justice is, first make sure in your own mind you know what end you wish to walk for or work for. Do you know? So find balance and think it through. Emily says, thinking about how we can make our circumstances as calm and balanced as we can we look to gain strength from right now that will keep us centered, even if it's small habits? Yes. Grace and understanding for ourselves and those around us. And then Queen Osset Heru, what keeps me centered? Meditations, affirmations, and grounding. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, I feel like my meditation is kind of that thing that helps me sort of just step away, come back to center, rebalance, and then I feel like I can move forward again in a way that allows me to be less reactive. That was a good question. Hopefully we answered that for you, Shane, but I think you also answered it for yourself. So let's move on to our next deck. This one's going to be a little tricky, but I came prepared with the book. I have not even, you guys have had this deck, and I still even haven't looked through it properly, but I have the fantastic Menagerie Tarot by Baba Studio here. So this is going to be quirky, I imagine. All right, let me put that there. All right. Where is our, oh, this is a cute scene though. I think I just said I do have the book handy. Here's the backs, by the way. I believe this is still available if I remember correctly, but here is Justice in the Fantastic Menagerie. So some folks aren't a big fan of animal heads on humanish bodies. But what do you see here when you look at this? Thoughts on this version of Justice? Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, that hanging on the wall is something. Focus. We'll see if we can get it to focus one more time. There we go. That is an angry cat holding the scales. People who know animals better than me, tell me you have opinions. All right, let me see what you guys said here or have to say. Emily, oh my. Drop of Golden Tarot answering the last question. Often journaling is my way to stay balanced. I can read it back and see where I was whining, where I need to take responsibility, but also where I need to walk away from certain people or situations. Yeah, so taking those times to reflect, right? Okay, I want to give you less glare, but I'm not sure I'm going to win the fight on this one. Can you guys see that okay? You can kind of see what's going on, but let me know if you need me to give you another like close-up look of this card. Beth says very barrister. Gosh, just a smiley face. Oh, how deliciously ironic would it be if this was the week where Jen forgot to put one of the decks in order? That didn't happen, Chris. Well, that's pretty on the nose, eh? Oh, yeah, right? It is kind of on the nose. Aren't those all the animals in the world card? It reminds me of the world card, the thing in the back. Oh, this here. The what's on the wall. Oh, interesting. Like where we have the bull and the lion and the... I think we only have 3 animals, but I totally get where you were going with that, Shane. This situation looks very inflamed. So maybe do you think there's more of a fight for justice that's happening in this card? L. Gardner says this card reminds me that everyone does not agree on what justice looks like, and getting there can be messy. Exactly. Yes. You said what I was thinking much more eloquently. I feel like our judge isn't actually in the justice position here. Ah, good observation there too. A lot of energy in this card, very different from the controlled RWS. Anne says, what I see is one of my favorite decks, The Art of J.J. Granville. Okay, fair. Chris says, this has court trial feels. Examine and act on the facts and the evidence, right? So here maybe is where we see the struggle, where maybe in the original, right, this is where we kind of see justice has been achieved or found or is there, and this is maybe the struggle to get to this point, perhaps. Yeah, the lion and the unicorn, very Alice in Wonderland, true. Lion and the unicorn in the background. All right, do you guys want more thoughts on this, or do we want to get straight to our question? Emotion is too involved in this depiction. So we're seeing a bit of that struggle there, aren't we, to achieve? I wonder if there's anything, let me just check really quick to see if there's anything super helpful about this particular, let me see if I can keep it up for you while I flip through. I don't want to read like a really long thing. Justice, there we are. I want to see if there's anything kind of called out. Okay, here we go. I just want to talk about the image. The classical image of justice is, as already mentioned, shows a blindfolded woman holding scales and a sword. She is impartial, calmly weighs up to the evidence, and where necessary, delivers punishment. It's essentially a neutral depiction. In our card, however, we decided to show a more nuanced scene, which implies that justice is, in reality, not always fair and impartial. A young female cat stands in a courtroom. A wily fox is the lawyer, standing to one side and eyeing her skeptically. The judge, far from calm, shouts and brandishes his scales. The viewer can only wonder if this trial is going to be at all just. So I think your skepticism in wondering if this really displays the same kind of fairness, I think that's warranted in this particular version. Yeah, the original is more conceptual. This is like what happens in the fight. Yeah. And ooh, yes, the red, right, signifies the passion. Chris says, yeah, I think that goddess justice is what we are all striving for in our courtrooms and with our laws. The judge, far from calm, right? Where's the kangaroo? I don't know. Elle says, I love this deck. It's like one big piss take, animals imitating our weird, illogical, corrupt human society and what we deem as civilized. Yes, irony at its best. All right, so let's see if we can answer. Oh, wait, where's Elle's comment? There it is. All right, let's see if we can answer our second question from Emily. So this one is, how can we nurture ourselves, allow ourselves to do things that feel good, safe, and grounded at this time in alignment with the full moon in Virgo on the 27th of February? And I feel like perhaps, wait, this way. Okay, there we go. I'm trying to get the glare off this thing. This is with the beautiful shiny artwork. I feel like with this particular depiction, this is kind of the warning of what not to do, right? Like, don't get carried away. Don't get, it's like, it's remembering that we want things to be fair and just and centered and balanced. So nurturing ourselves, but maybe also a little bit is standing up for what we believe is right. Maybe that is nurturing in some kind of way. How would you guys answer this one? I feel like this is a really challenging card for Emily's question. All right, I'm going to scroll back and kind of catch up on what you guys were saying. So Pamela said, I like that courtroom card. Humanity has to be constantly fighting for justice. Very true. Chantal says, that reminds me of the Council of All Beings card in the Witch's Wisdom, as in judgment, like you reap what you sow and being held responsible. Yes. Hi, Chantal, by the way. And Emily's like, oh, this question for this card. Becca says, judges do show emotion, but usually only when, oops, my chat jumped again on me, when handing down the sentence and giving final thoughts, right? That's where you really start to see their sort of, I know what you mean. Like that's when they really express more of their opinions and thoughts on the matter. Neem says, like that cat has been called out as being biased and is defending himself in his own courtroom. It's not me, it's the scales. There will always be some sort of bias. Yes. I mean, when humans are involved, right? Chris asks, can someone explain roughly what full moon in Virgo means? My astrology is terrible. Oh, I haven't read up on it yet, Chris, or I totally would. I was gonna get into that in a few days. Maybe somebody else can. But let's see. Oak Mama says, but the introduction of courts instead of that violent rush of revenge did push civilization forward. Oh, you guys got some good thoughts going on here. Val says, on the other hand, perhaps we need to argue our point and express our needs and goals. Yeah, and maybe it's advocating for ourselves, right? I know a lot of times it can be one of the most self-caring things that you can do is be willing to state firmly what it is you need and not accept less, right? T-Cat says, goodness, that cat judge looks very angry and heavily prosecuting the lady in the green hat. This justice has that taste of shame. And then Emily says, I think we need to detach from turbulent emotions. Perhaps we need to refrain from sinking into toxic habits that can add fuel to the fire, alcohol, drugs, overworking, etc. Also, remember, it does not have to be perfect. Emily then says, we need to release attachment to our dreams, hopes, desires that we so care about. Those things we would fight for, we need to let it go because at a certain point, we lose our humanity. Interesting. Interesting way to interpret that for sure. Yeah, I know I got to read the stories. Let's see. Butterfly Moore says, be really honest, perhaps brutally so, in how we are taking care of ourselves. Are we really doing what is nurturing or just avoiding something? Or are we shrouding something under the term of self-care when really perhaps it's not self-nurturing, but it could potentially be selfish? So we have to watch out for that too, right? That says, see where Virgo is in your chart, especially how, so kind of answering Chris's question, especially how it affects your sun and your ascendant. Then look for those attributes and how you deal with them. So we're talking about Virgo being an earth sign. Melanie says, Virgo is a sign where service is a theme, but also structure and meticulousness. Queen Aset Hiru says, I think the original card is the ideal. Every time I go to court, everyone is emotional. I've seen judges scream at defendants, and I had more than one lawyer snap on me. Yikes. Sounds like you have some experience with this. Pamela says, our struggles for human rights and justice can only move forward when we also care and nurture ourselves to stay strong. Yes. All right. I'm kind of jumping a little bit ahead of time, or ahead to get caught up here. And then Anne said, Moon and Virgo, focus on details, especially work and practical matters. Okay, hopefully we gave you some food for thought for that one, Emily. All right, oh my gosh, we've already been doing this for 65 minutes. Let's keep going. All right, my next deck that I have, I feel like I haven't seen this deck in forever. I have the Textured Tarot here by Lisa McLaughlin. Let's take a look at this beauty. And our Justice card. All right, so I think we're coming back a little more traditional here with this one. Here's the backs, by the way. Here is this one. Oh, look at that. The salamander's on her throne. Interesting. So we have a little bit of the fire element coming into play there. Very balanced scales. Sword. We have a bit of a slant to the sword also. I know sometimes people will interpret that sword being straight up and down. So does that slant add an element, but yet it's like counterbalanced against her body position, right? So it still in a way feels balanced. What do y'all think about this one? Oh, while you're thinking, I can take a sip of tea. I had a full cup of coffee this morning. I think Elizabeth was like, Jen, coffee. Okay, there, I'm good. Yeah, she really is beautiful, isn't she? I love this one. I think it's very pretty. Does it bring anything new or different? Or do we think we'll be going right into the question? What do you think about that throne? So we have what we get a little bit of the fire. I feel like with her dress, we see a lot of like floral elements. So I feel like that's bringing in some earthiness and some groundedness. Oh, look what she's got on her scale. She has the heart and the feather we were talking about earlier. So that's kind of cool. What I still don't see in this card, I see every other element except for water. Yeah, I struggle with this cardstock so bad. I've creased a card. I love this, but I do wish it was on different cardstock, Tamara. Looks like the heart and feather of Mott. Yes. Aspasia Beth says she looks like a warrior to me. The sword is ready to do battle. There you go. My goodness, she's sitting like Agnes Brown. For anyone who has seen Mrs. Brown's Boys. I have not, so I don't know that reference. Pamela says, all I see in her is privilege. I'm in a mood. Interesting. So applying an emotional aspect to the Justice card. Butterfly Moore. Wow, she's loving that role. No strict rigidity. She's in her element. You know, okay, so we've got two of you. So Pamela and Butterfly Moore, you're both kind of like, okay, I see a little, do you think you see a bit of ego in this card? You know, it's kind of like, oh yeah, I get to decide, right? Emily says Salamander could reference Kundalini energy. Again, the balance and duality of the magician, action, and high priestess, intuition, wisdom. Okay, that's cool. You see a beast under her, Powell. This is the textured tarot. I know it's available on Etsy, but yeah, the cardstock on this is a little thick and it's not very flexible. So it can be a little troublesome, especially if you're a riffle shuffler. So don't riffle shuffle this deck. Drop of Golden Tarot says, I love her stance, the legs open. She has nothing to hide or be demure about. Let's see. She's definitely giving off Mott vibes. And wait. Where did it go? Where did it go? Even her hairstyle. We need another close-up. Okay, another close-up for this one. Oh, let me hide the comment here. Oh, this is not a touch screen, Jen. I tried. There we go. All right. Here's our close-up again. Very regal, I think. Scrolling. If she dropped that scale, she'd surely be Queen of Swords. She looks so freaking ready to let it be known. Yeah, I agree. Uh-oh. There we go. Becca likes the cardstock of this deck, so there's that. Yeah, I think as long as you don't try to riffle shuffle it, it's fine. Leanne says she looks transparent, evocative of the swords, which are thoughts. She's a dancer, dancing through minds like reverie of times gone by, and yet fierce. Ooh, I like that. Thanks for contributing that. Let's see. I think it's funny that it's a woman and we think about being rude or attitude in her posture. If it was male, would we assign the same characteristics? I think in this case I would, but I think that's a very fair question. Al Gardner says there's a lot of power that goes with being in a place to judge. Very true. And it seems like that power could make it difficult to stay humble, right? So that's another challenge in continuing to apply what we should with the Justice card. Tammy Pay says, I think a lot of times Queen of Swords and Justice look interchangeable. I have totally gotten them confused in decks before. Not going to lie about that. All right, so we have Simon's question for this one. Well, Simon and Anne, actually. How can we put a spring in our step for spring? Ooh, this one's tricky. How can we put a spring in our step for spring? Now, this is the first Justice card where we've really seen sort of a floral or plant life aspect to it, more earthiness to this. So maybe it's keeping our expectations balanced and recognize that we're still dealing with some challenging times. But if we can kind of take our emotion out of it and recognize that a lot of what's happening are just things that need to be done because that's what's right at this time, perhaps then we can better appreciate those moments where we do get out into nature, right? And we do connect with those elements, but we do it with not expecting it to be the be all end all of everything. It's just keeping that balance, keeping our responsibilities balanced with the things that we need to do to be self-caring, that we enjoy, etc. So those are some thoughts that I have, but I know you guys will come with some nuggets of wisdom for sure. Emily says, put the sword down and have a little boogie. Oh, Simon, when you do, will you film it? I would love to see Simon have a little boogie. Let's see. Butterfly Moore says, I love the confidence of this card. Interesting posture, perhaps showing fluidity rather than rigid rules, may be more appropriate. T-Cat says, I feel that the fire energy brings a bit of spontaneity or impulsiveness to this justice. Oh, I'm glad you liked what I said, Simon. Thank you. Beth says, maybe feel the confidence and realize things are as they are supposed to be. You can handle it and go forward and embrace spring. Oklahoma says, I think she's got 2 sets of legs. Oh, you guys have been talking about her leg positions. Like, are they open? Are they both to the side? 2 sets of legs. That's a new one. Anne says, yes, I really like the idea of removing emotions in answer to the question. You know, sometimes just kind of talking ourselves off that emotional ledge where we start to get really caught up, or again, we start to personalize things and we start to think about, okay, how things are happening in the world, that we all have to work towards a common goal, right? For things to kind of regain a sense of normalcy. And if we can't think outside of ourselves and look at the bigger picture, I think it becomes more challenging. I totally do, Simon. I hold my opinion. Let's see. Gigi says, free yourself from what others think you should or should not do. Be bold, speak your mind, enjoy the sense of freedom that comes with not letting yourself be caged in by artificial boundaries. Yeah. See, we all want to see you boogie. Emily will boogie with you. We'll have a dance party. It'll be fun. Beth says, live in the present and allow the fire in your heart to inspire you. I like it. All right. Any other thoughts on that? Feel free to bring them as I get our next deck here. All right. This one, again, randomly selected. The Tarot Grand Luxe by Ciro Marchetti. We had the Tarot of Dreams last week by Ciro Marchetti as well. So he's making an appearance 2 weeks in a row. Okay, let's see what this one looks like. Oops, we went straight to, wait. I just keep passing by this justice. Okay. All right, lots of things to look at, but we have a new element in this card. Take a look. These are the backs, by the way, of this particular deck. I'll give you a nice close-up. So here we have Justice blindfold again. Now we have kind of this floating sword and the feather. Now the sword is pointing down instead of up, and she's holding on. Oh, look, CM. Okay, there you are, Ciro. But she's holding the balance scales. But look what we have at her feet and in the background. So we get all of the elements, but we see turbulent waters in this card. So what does that bring for you? All right, we still had a few of us answering the previous question. So Ellen said, bask in your own opulence. Bask in all you've worked hard for. Pause and take pride in the path you've chosen. Self-made mastery is something to be proud of. Yes. Chris said, we can strive towards justice without having to be stern, emotionless robots. We can bring some fire, some passion, and pizzazz into our day while still doing what serves the collective. I like that, Chris. I'm on board with that. What? I'm not going to highlight that, but that is funny. I won't do that to Simon. Let's see. Okay, everybody's... Okay, that's funny. Oklahoma says turbulent water is those emotions, but she's floating above it. Yeah, so this is what I find, this is how I kind of interpret that. We do see the emotions, we do see the potential for those to kind of knock her off balance, but I feel like she's standing firm, right? She's holding the line, the scales are still perfectly balanced. Whatever emotionally is happening around her isn't affecting her ability to keep things in balance, is kind of how I see that. And Chiro always brings the drama. Yes, he does. Glastonbury, there's an opportunity to see Simon Buggy. I like it. Is that a feather or a quill? You know, that's a good point. It does look like a quill. Good observation there, Oak Mama. The sky looks stormy too. Yeah, so all that chaos, all that, everything that's going on, are we still keeping it together? Any other observations, or do we want to just dive right into the question? Actually, we still have one more deck. Let's dive right into the question, but feel free to make any other observations about the card that you'd like. So this one was from our Jennifer Ball. What energy will Pisces season bring? Now, aren't Pisces kind of known because that's a water sign, right? So maybe it is. It's having to maintain that sense of balance and fairness and objectivity in a more emotional time, potentially, right? So that might be something that we need to be prepared for, to be able to kind of stay steady Eddie through more turbulent times that could arise. Let's see what you guys think, though. The pen is mightier than the sword. I like that, Beth. You got to go soon. All right, well, we'll keep it moving. We'll keep it moving. T-Cat says, remembering that spring is just beginning and what will grow next will be straightly the result of your actions and the choices that you make. So spring wisely. Okay, I think I get what you're saying there. I thought kicking ass and taking names. Pisces known for psychic development, artistic and creative pursuits. Okay. So can we apply that in a way, or what does Justice say about that, do you think, Emily? And Beth said, or perhaps the balance between the two. Good point. Yes, I like that. I see the intuitive aspects in this depiction. Yeah, especially with the blindfold, right? So it's kind of like balancing that's the sword and the quill, if you will. Did I miss what T-Cat said? Or did I say it? Oh, no, I did. I did not miss it. True. We have people going, what do I think about that? Any other thoughts? What do you think, Jenna? I'm not sure. Again, the astrological aspects of what Pisces season mean, I might be a little bit off on for sure. Okay, it sounds like Jenna is resonating with what Emily was saying, so that's good and helpful. Oh, here we got something from Gigi too. Pisces is ultimate expansion, dissolution in the unconditional love of source energy, which is hard to comprehend for our minds. The fire in the card is like karma, which is an expression of this love. Ooh, like it. Okuma says it feels very similar to the Two of Swords. Yeah, I get that. Balance, definitely. All right. Yeah, and with that blindfold too, right? All right. Well, let me know, Jenna, if you have any more follow-ups on that, or hopefully we answered. I know I'm getting a little speedy here to kind of keep us close to on time because we still have to talk a little bit about reversals and get an activity before we go. So my last deck of the day is, there we go, Shadowscapes Tarot. And I know sometimes this gets a little bit busy for folks, but being able to look at it close up on camera should help a bit. Still one of the most beautiful decks, and also one of my prettier mod jobs, I would say. I freaking love that color with this deck. If I do see some Dropsies, it's been so long. Okay, that was for old time's sake right there. We're just going to leave it there though. Okay, so we have Justice in this deck. Set that somewhere. Okay, so here's our Shadowscapes Justice. Let's see if I can get some focus. The shinier ones always seem to have a little more trouble. There we go. I want you to be able to see what's happening in this card. Okay, so she's got, does she also have a quill in hand? And then she's got her scales, butterflies around there. Definitely get a lot more of an earthy element. So she's like up in the tree. That's interesting. Any other observations or thoughts on that? Let's see if I can hold this one. Let's see. If I scooch over here, I'll hold this as close as I can. The camera's a little further away than it probably looks, but. Okay, Jenna said, good stuff. Oh, and then Beth had said earlier too, this card, the previous card showed power coming off the scales, perhaps really balancing and finding personal power in emotional waters. Yes, I liked that. And then Emily had also said, bringing more of that intuition, any guidance from dreams, a time to tap into that intuition and allow that to help us in the here and now. How can we help ourselves in our daily lives? Ah, way to wrap that up while I was pulling out the next deck. OL said, I saw a knockoff of this deck in a small tin version. What? In a small tin version. And knockoff. Don't support that nonsense. Let's see here. Beth says, lots of wings in this one. Her and the butterflies. Yeah, so does that feel more airy? And what do you think about that if it does? Oh, what is DQ? Oh, Dropsy Queen. That's what that is. Jackie, butterflies, transformation, change. Interesting. And then how do we apply that to justice? It's not something I would normally correlate, so I'll be interested to know what you think. What you think. Gracia says, this deck is very pretty, but too busy for my eyes. First time really seeing the details. Yeah, I have to put on my glasses or grab the magnifying glass every time. Not gonna lie. White Tree Tarot says, I like that she has two colored wings, white and black, and one goes up, another down, right? So you're right. We've got a bit of an angle to this, and we sort of have, oh, I see what you're saying. I didn't notice that before. Very good eye. So on one side, we have the black on with the wing kind of facing upward with the black on the bottom, and then the wing facing downward like we would normally expect to see, the black on the top. Ooh, lots of duality happening there, and kind of a balance between the two sides with something else kind of coming up on top. Ooh, okay, good thoughts. Jen, do you happen to have a sword to hand? It would make the entire Playdate series for me if you would hold your scales in one hand and a sword in the other. You know, Shane might have a sword. So Shane, if you could just bring your sword over, we can make this happen for Chris. I would assume you have a sword. I don't even know. He might have had to go to work. So the wings go to Libra and Air. Yes. Like, who needs the cards? Jen will just be Justice. Justice of Mother Nature. All that work the chunky caterpillar boy did, eating and growing. Now he gets to fly. Yeah. This Justice figure looks like a fallen angel or something. That was the wheel. I don't think the wing is broken, Powell, but I don't know. Let's see here. This deck is so full of fae, so many an element of some kind. I do have a butter knife, Melanie. I do have that. There's so much going on in this art. Ironically, I'm getting imbalanced looking at it. Oh, seeing as Shane has gone to work, I'll send you my small plastic. So Elle has like a little sword, and it looks like a cocktail stir, like you'd stick it in an olive or something. So I'd have this little, I don't think that would be very balanced if I had a little sword over here, scales over here. Oh my goodness. Emily says, it's interesting thinking about how justice in the world of fae is so different to our human world. Oh, interesting. Or our dimension. All right, let's answer Chris's last question, or the last question of Playdate, but Chris's question. How can we balance being productive and giving ourselves chill time that we need? So I think in this particular, wait, over here. Okay. So I want less glare. Okay, there we go. So in this particular version of the card, we have, I think, a lot more fluidity than we have seen in the other versions. So if we kind of take that aspect of this card to answer Chris's question, it's I think saying that we can still find balance, but there's some room and flexibility. It doesn't have to be rigid, right? It doesn't all have to happen exactly at the same time, right? Which I think when we see like the perfect balance of scales can sometimes feel like that indicates. So it's going to be a bit of the ebb and flow. So we'll be productive, and then we will be more creative and or relaxed. And that's how we achieve that balance over the course of whatever time period we're kind of thinking about here. So those are some of my thoughts. Okay, is that better? That's a little bit better on the light there. Let's see what you guys think. That's true. It's all about perspective, isn't it, Simon? I can just hold the sword closer and it'll look big. Good tip. Pamela says, Rachel Pollack says, Justice card shows that events have worked out the way they were meant to. Okay. Oh, yeah, true, right? That's how I get conned into thinking card. Yeah, look, the Shadowscapes is totally big, right? What's the problem with this particular card? Butterflies emerge from a chrysalis. Transformation, a new way to see things clearly. Oh, I like that aspect of it. So Emily says, in answer to the question, I'd say schedule time. And with this depiction, it makes me think of thinning of the veil and two worlds colliding. There must be adaptability right now, especially in the world of COVID, right? Oklahoma says, find that balance, plan your chill time, like be logical and rational about it. Recognize that it's something you might have to work into your schedule, right? Rather than just getting frustrated. I have no time to relax, right? It's like, okay, you know you want to relax. Let's be objective about this, logical about it. Beth says this card has so many symbols of air, I would interpret it to mean mental planning needs to happen. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Claire. I'm glad you are enjoying it. Emily, definitely finding a balance. What about things, transitory movements? Or what about those transitory moments? The liminal spaces between night and day and night, shore and sea, land and sky. Oh, you're getting deep on us, Emily, there. Yeah, it seems like planning chill time seems to be where a few of us are going with this. Bye, Oak Mama. Thank you for being here. White Tree Tarot, I'm sorry, but the only thing that comes into my mind, you already have the answer in the question. Just balance it. I sometimes joke. Sometimes I feel like the tarot just like smacks me over the head with the literal answer. Like I'll pull it up and I'll be like, okay, yeah, I get it. Chris said, yep, I agree with you, Jen. We need to appreciate how the productivity and the chill time balance each other and each have a part to play, enabling us to be our best selves. Yes, but you said it beautifully, Chris. Emily, allowing ourselves to really truly rest when we have downtime. So turn off the phone and internet in rest time. Allow yourself to fully switch off and drift into transient states. Neem says, I agree. You have to actually schedule in me time and adhere to it. Okay. Okay, Regina, well, I appreciate you being here. All right, so let's take a quick moment. Thank you, everyone, for helping to answer everyone's questions. And let's talk momentarily about what we think when we see, where did my melanated go? I lost my oh, no, I totally lost my melanated justice card. I'll have to find that. I apologize. Oh, wait, it's right here. It's upside down. Okay, so if we see justice in a reversed position, if you read reversals, or in a position in a spread that represents an obstacle or a challenge, or if you're just reading kind of the shadow elements are coming into play for your question, what do you think? So what are kind of the shadowy sides of this card? And while you guys are coming up with ideas, I know I keep switching this back and forth. I'm going to take another sip of tea out of my gigantic mug. That is completely out of balance with scale. Okay. Come on, guys. I know you got it. I would think perhaps you know, a lot of times I want to be careful about, and sometimes when I see reversals come up, I immediately want to apply the opposite meaning, right? Things are out of balance. Justice isn't happening, kind of here, right? Chris says injustice. Jackie says no justice, unfair, unbalanced. Also, maybe it's perhaps that we're just slower to get to that place, right? So it might be that we're having a more difficult time. It's not that we're not going to get there at all, but maybe it'll just take us a little bit longer to get there, or we're not thinking in ways that allow us to achieve that. But we can. You just got to really work hard at it. And then Emily says, we're not in alignment with what we see as true, or perhaps the decision has already been made. Oh, that's an interesting thought. Richard says, revenge is a dish best served cold. Yeah, so maybe we've kind of gone to a very shadowy side of this, and what we're calling justice isn't really justice, but is actually revenge, which means we've allowed those emotions to creep in and be motivators to what we're doing. Jackie said, try harder. Chris says, when we let self-interest corrupt the beauty of pure justice, fear that true justice will leave us worse off, so we resist it, right? We get too caught up in, well, what does this mean for me? And justice maybe is, again, kind of coming back to what I was saying right at the very beginning. We have to look outside of ourselves for justice to really be achieved. Emily says, we are lying to ourselves or others. Butterfly more, a hasty decision. Where am I out of balance in decisions? Too logical? Jessica Reed, pay attention to your own behaviors. So maybe we need to be more aware of where we're being challenged in this area. I like that. Hello, In Between Tarot. Let's see, TCAT says productivity happens when you are planning both your projects and free time and being objective with those. So you're kind of going back to Chris's question on that, perhaps. Emily says, perhaps in court proceeding, things aren't going to go our way. Yeah, that could be justice may not be served if we're looking at that, or if we're asking a question. Infidelity, well, that feels very unfair. That's for darn sure. Lori Kramer, maybe you could hold up the Ace of Swords from a big deck near scales regress. We'll have to achieve that at some point. I mean, it just makes sense, right? Jen's Balanced Tarot. Butterfly Moore, an inability to be unbiased or unemotional. Emily says, we're treating ourselves or others unfairly. Yes. Kristen, thank you for popping in to say hello. Chris says, a broken contract, right? Oh, and that's also where infidelity comes in as well, right? We are stubborn and unable to see or unwilling to see the truth, the light, what is right. Val asked, did somebody say this already? Maybe I'm not being fair with someone else. We might have had some similar, but I think it's still important to reiterate some of these meanings. Could be a court case being thrown out. Yes. Emily says, whether or not we mean well, justice will be done. And though we may have best intentions, others may be hurt, right? So then we have to sometimes think about intentions versus impact, right? Injustice, losing in court, getting a ticket. Oh, I mean, thankfully I'm not driving around that much these days, so that's a little harder. Okay, so before I leave you for the day, so I know we had just a couple of folks pop in, but we're just getting ready to wrap up. Let's see what our tarot activity is for justice this week. And again, if you'd like to participate, you can do so silently. You can share this with us in the Tarot Playdate Facebook group. If you're a member there, feel free to come join us if you are not. Or on Instagram, if you use the hashtag Tarot Playdate, I try to keep an eye out for those as well. I do need to probably take a scroll through and see if I've missed any lately, because I'm not sure I've been checking that hashtag. So I need to make sure I'm saying what I'm saying is true, right? Especially today. All right, so this activity this week is, can you be objective? And again, I will put this in the description box below this video after we're done here today. And then I'll also, when I put a link to the video in the Tarot Playdate Facebook group, I'll be sure to put it there as well. Justice can often be about objectivity and fairness without letting emotions get involved. Practice this exercise by randomly pulling cards in pairs of twos. See if, well, in pairs of two, that was redundant, but you get what I'm saying. See if you can find something in each card that offsets or balances something out, something in the other card. Can you achieve balance with each pairing? I don't know if you guys, for anybody who was at Tarothon last year in 2020, this was kind of this was a lot of one of the activities that we actually did in my Tarothon segment. So examples, in one card, the figure is looking left, and then the other, they might be looking right. One card represents sadness, the other joy, etc. So how do you see us achieving sort of that balance and fairness when looking at those two cards together? So fun exercise that you can choose to do or not do at your leisure. So let me get back to the chat here. So that, my friends, was Tarot Playdate number 60. Oh, we still had a few more thoughts on this. So Anne said, we're resisting hearing the truth. Bit more on the reversals here. This card could mean that you're taking the blame and consequences on behalf of someone else's wrongdoings. Ooh, has anyone been in that situation before? Thank you to everyone for being here. As always, I very much appreciate it. Let me turn off the tarot activity time. I hope you guys have a great week. Feel free to share your justice cards from other decks or any additional thoughts that you have. Keep the discussion going either in the Playdate Facebook group or if you're not on Facebook, the comments below, right? So if you're watching this back or if you have a thought, want to come back later, plop it in there. I do read them and respond. So, all right, my friends, I am sending you lots and lots of love until I see you in the next one. Bye. Oh, stay balanced.